What's up? QuickUkeTips here. Today we're going to learn how to play a basic major scale in any key. We're also going to learn how to understand what each note is on the fretboard. Now, why would you want to learn the major scale? Learning the scale allows you to solo over different pieces of music. But, more importantly, these scales can be used as roadmaps to understand different pieces of music or to create different pieces of music. So there's a magical formula that creates a major scale, and we're going to play it just on one string. We'll play it on this bottom string, the A string. It goes like this: whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Now a whole step is when you move 2 frets. A half step is when you move 1 fret. For example, starting on the 2nd fret on the bottom string, that's a half step. This is a whole step. There's 1 fret in between that we jump over. Let's apply it to the A string, this bottom string. First note, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And you should end up on the 12th fret. And you could do that on any string. Now suppose you don't want to play the scale all the way down the neck. Suppose it's easier to play it just here. How do we know which notes to press? In order to know what notes to press, we need to identify the individual notes on the fretboard. Now you probably already know there's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C. But what about the sharps and flats? To sharpen a note, you add a half step to it. To flatten a note, you move it down a half step. C, C sharp, D, D flat. C sharp and D flat are 2 different names for the same note. Now if you're familiar with a keyboard, the sharps and flats are the black notes on the keyboard. One thing to keep in mind is that there's no black note between E and F, and there's no black note between B and C. Therefore, there's no E sharp or F flat, and there's no B sharp or C flat. So let's look at our C major scale. We'll start on the C string. Now how do we know which notes to press? Let's identify them. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So if we want to play it this way, how are we going to know where to put our fingers? 3 whole steps and then another half step. There's our C. We'll do a whole step from C to D, and then another whole step. This is E, but we know that this string, played open, is also an E. So instead of going C, D, E, we'll go C, D, E. Whole step, half step brings us to F. Then there's 3 more whole steps. 1 whole step brings us to G. Another whole step brings us to A. We know that this bottom string is A, so we can play that. Another whole step brings us to B. And then the last half step will bring us to C. There's no B sharp, just go straight to C. Now you know how to play a C scale within the first 3 frets. Suppose you wanted to play in the key of D. There's no G, C, E, A. There's no D string. So how do we figure that out? So we got our C string right here. On the 1st fret we have C sharp. On the 2nd fret we have D. Right there. If we take this pattern and we move that pattern up 2, then we have a D major scale. But this C major scale has open notes. We can't play the open notes when we play the D major scale. So when playing the C major scale, I want you to pretend like up here when you play the open notes, that's its own fret. So we're going to take that pattern and we're going to move it down 2. And there's your D major scale. You want to play in the key of G, C, D, E, F, G. There you go. And you can use these scales to solo in any key. They'll also be useful going forward as we discuss music theory and different ways that we can move within the music. Thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful. I'm open to criticism and feedback to help make this musical exploration much easier and much straightforward for you. So feel free, put stuff in the comments, reach out to me, let me know. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for tuning in. Eat your fruits and vegetables, and I'll see you next time.